I really struggled with my skin. And you're a teenager and your hormones and you get it and it's cool. And then all of a sudden I was like 18 and then I was 23 and then I was 28 and then I was 30 and then I was like 35 and I'm like, whoa, when does this thing stop? Like when I thought like 16, 18, 21 maybe, why is it continuing? And it was really hard especially to be in spaces where you would present yourself and you would feel just so self-conscious. I just felt so self-conscious. And I'm like, but there's a big bump right here. And then most people are like, I don't even see the damn bump, but I see the bump right here and it's huge. And it feels really uncomfortable, you just feel uncomfortable. You want to know why, too. You want to know what's the matter. Is something wrong? What can I do to help this? And so that definitely caused me a lot of anxiety. I started in the music world when I was 18. And so that was right kind of at the precipice. And then the stress of the whole universe of music was just so much. And I was trying my best to play it cool. And like, I can handle it, I can do it. But it was stressful. It was a whole new world. I had to carry a new weight on my shoulders and try to, kind of like be calm or cool while doing it. And it was tricky. And my skin, I learned that my body reacts to stress. Our bodies react to stress. My personal body physically reacts to stress. Many of our personal bodies do this, which is obviously why even many diseases come to us from stress, because physically it's a physical manifestation of this feeling, which is why it is so important for us to figure out like what gives you peace, what calms you down, what makes you feel safe and like you're in your skin and you're yourself and these type of things. And so, of course, I didn't know what that was for a long time, but I realized that it was these relationships I was attracting. And it was the level of commitment I was agreeing to that left no space for me to reflect or to sleep or to be with my friends and, have those outlets that do give you a sense of calm. And so my skin was so reactive that I said one day to myself, if I one day I'm going to make something that fixes this, I'm going to do something about this because I know I'm not the only one. And I realized as I began to, live and experience so many different parts of my life, motherhood and, raising young kids and finding time for yourself, and getting rid of those toxic energies that were attacking me in real life, I realized that you really have to take care of your soul. Like you have to take care of your soul. So this philosophy of soul care really came from all of these understandings and all of these realizings that no one's going to do it for me. Like, no, as much as I really, really wish someone would stand up and be like, you're not good for her, get out of here. Yeah. That thing, you need to stop. No, I have to be the judge of that. And therefore I have to find my way to the understanding of how do I hear myself to know what is good and what is not, or what is real or what is true. And so there were many things that brought me to that place. Some of them were meditations that brought me there and really brought me to a more intuitive space. Some of them were just practicing the art of like, no, what do you think? No, I know 6 friends said this. What do you think? And that became the practice of soul care and also these ideas of ancient rituals and what are some special ways that we can have peace and calm? And I was attracted to crystals and their powers and their meanings. I was attracted to journaling. And I have a very difficult time. As a kid, I had a difficult time expressing my truth. And I realized that when I would journal or do this stream of consciousness, I could actually just release it. I could let it go. And if I'm not good at doing that to someone else because I didn't trust as fully, I can do it with myself, And so these practices of how do you kind of like depend on yourself to find your own grounding became my idea of what soul care is. And the idea was, to me, it's a philosophy. It's a way of life. It's a lifestyle. To me, the beauty industry or skincare industry, just like the music industry, all of it is kind of creating how to live within the chaos. And so how do we do it? Nobody teaches us normally. It's a blessing if someone does, but normally it's not. So finding these ways through affirmations, through the idea of really connecting to yourself. You can also think about how I'm devoted to this moment, because so many times we're over here, over there, back there, over there. How can you just be right here with yourself right now? And soul care, because we have air care, hair care, nail care, body care, home care, but we never had soul care. Why? So I wanted to start it.
There's so much of that connection from body, mind, spirit, and soul that I think we lose, and we don't realize how interconnected they all are. What you were saying about stress, I found really powerful, because so for me, my stress shows up as tightness in my body. Like I feel my stress is like, it gets stored in my neck or my shoulders. And then I'm just feeling tight, even though I was like, I didn't know I was stressed. I didn't know what I was going through.
Totally.
And as you're saying, for some people, it shows up in their skin. I was going to ask you, there's a bit of an addiction we also have to stress and drama. And there's this feeling sometimes where we prefer it when we have stress and busyness and we're workaholics and we like the drama. And almost when there's peace, we almost get confused and lost because—
Scared even.
Exactly. We get scared, right? So what would you say to someone who's actually, they're listening to us right now and they're like, wow, I just realized that's who I am. I choose stress. Because
do you think people come to that realization?
I don't think people do it consciously, but I think unconsciously, when I sit with people, they'll find that their inherited choice is to naturally stay busy, work a lot, create drama in their relationship, whatever it is, because we're more used to it. Not because we're bad people or because we're wrong, but because we kind of feel familiar. And I'll give you the opposite example. I have lots of friends who'll be like, oh, I'm dating this guy and it's really peaceful, I'm bored. And so there's that, right? Where people actually have like peace and stillness and connection. We're like, because there's nothing to talk about. So I don't think it's something that people do on purpose. And I don't think it's something that people even do it consciously.
Right.
But I think we do like to stay busy and stressed to some degree.
I am familiar with that as well.
Yeah.
And I kind of was just telling you that I had the best summer. And it was my first summer where, the last 2 summers I was on tour. And obviously those are just such a monster universe to try to like harness. And this summer was just like, I was like, I am creating peace this summer. I am doing the things that everything I can imagine I want to do, I'm doing it this summer. And it was really liberating, really liberating. But it also does reflect to myself, back to your point, the connection to the busyness equaling success, or the busyness equaling, something positive, when surely there's positivity there for sure, but there is an addiction that I think comes with this idea of having to fill every minute and fill every second. And also there's the avoidance that we're all likely experiencing, where we don't really want to face all the things underneath things. So if we stay as busy as possible,
that's a good point.
We are like literally, we don't even have time to think about those things or to reflect on those things. And so I do understand that lifestyle, because I feel like for quite a while, I would just say yes because I'm used to saying yes.
Yes.
Right? And I realized, wait, okay, you don't have to say yes. So do you want to say yes? Do you actually want to say yes? Or do you just feel obligated to say yes for any number of reasons? So I think it's very powerful. I think you're right. There's totally the drama that we've been conditioned.
That's the right word.
Right? It's around us. It's what we see every day. We've seen our parents experience it in different ways. We've seen our friends go through it in different ways. And therefore, that becomes the normal for us. And when we kind of crave it, we become addicted to it, even without knowing it. So I think that practice of like that perhaps is one of the opening, when you said, how did you get to a place where you could, find yourself where you are? I think part of that practice really did have to come to spending time with myself. And I made every excuse why I couldn't spend time with myself. My kids, I can't do it. My kids, I can't leave them by themselves. I can't do it because I gotta, who else is gonna do? I gotta feed the family. We gotta do. And they all seem valid. Makes sense to me. Yeah, that's true. Your kids, you should probably make sure your kids are good. And if I don't make sure I'm good, how can I make sure anybody is good ever? And so spending time with myself I fought against it so much. But when I started to do it, I realized that I was more powerful than I'd ever been. And I was faster. I was able to do things quicker and more efficiently because I wasn't so cloudy, and that was cool. That was cool. When you start to feel that, where you're like, oh, I don't have to spend so much time doing whatever action because I actually know what I want to do, and I'm decisive. Man, that felt so good. I had never felt decisive before in my life. I'd never felt clear without thousands of other opinions. I never felt like my own self. So that was big. But spending time with myself was, I believe, one of the keys to that.
I feel like so many people who are listening right now would say, Alicia, I feel the same way. I talk to myself in my head and I think, I can't do it. I'm not meant for it. It's not going to happen for me. And at the same time, they have this voice inside of them that says, you're made for more. You're made of more. I know I need to believe in myself. And we kind of feel this internal battle. What was the work you had to do in order to go from someone who was anxious, doubtful, to become someone who manifested this beautiful, incredible, full life? Not that it's easy, not that it came immediately,
right.
But what was the work in the beginning stages that you had to reorient your mind?
That's a great question. I think one of the things that I had to come to terms with is that pretty much nothing is going to come in the time frame that you think is going to come. So that's helpful because I think a lot of us are, we're in such a digital space and we see all these things and we're bombarded with all these images and we're bombarded with all these kind of like carefully crafted posts of perfection, and you get freaked out about it. You're like, but I'm, and fortunately I didn't really have to grow up looking at that. So I empathize deeply with this generation. We have to evolve as young people on a whole other level than I even had to navigate. But what I mean by, and why it relates is, I felt like I grew up in New York City. Everybody's a hustler. You got to go fast. You got to make it happen. You got to stay up all night and get up crack of dawn. And it's not going to happen if you don't. And I realized, wait, as hard as I try to push the thing forward, when it's time, it's time. And if it's not time, it don't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how much sleep I don't get. It's not going to be time until it's time. And so I think that steadiness of like kind of, you just have to put one foot in front of the other is just as simple as that. And I remember when I did my first marathon, I ran in Greece and I figured I'd never do another marathon, so I might as well do something unforgettable. But I couldn't figure out how I was going to make it. Everything hurt. My feet hurt, my back hurt, my lower back hurt, my abs hurt, my body ached, and I couldn't figure out how am I going to get there. And I remember I was running with my friend who trained with me and helped me, and he said, you see that pole? You're going to get to that pole. You see that light? After the pole, you're going to get to that light. You see that tree after the light? You're going to get to that tree. And it was literally that step by step. And so I discovered that is how we get where we're going. Mm-hmm. Like this increment of small, determined moments. And so I think that, as well as coupled with taking that negative talk out of your space, like being very conscious. It happens, it's in your head, you hear it, you're like, Tell yourself the opposite thing. I mean, that's how I started to really get into affirmations, which I realized that I had to create what I wanted to hear. And oftentimes it's the barrage of everyone else's doubts and fears, and your parents, you inherited theirs, and you inherited all your peers' things, and you got all these things inside you that are not even yours. And so I had to create this connection with affirmations that allowed me to say what I wanted to hear. And so I had to become very mindful to notice the negative so that I could replace it. And when I did that, it really changed everything. It changed a bunch. And I had to stop saying things that I heard my mother say. I had to stop saying things that I heard whoever else I trusted say, because it wasn't serving me. Because she had picked up some stuff that I didn't need to pick up. I didn't need to hold it. Stuff like that has been how